What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video. Now, I'm going to put this extreme disclaimer out there. I am not an NFL expert. This is also probably going to be my weirdest video that I talk about for quite some time, just because I mainly said in my other videos, the only main videos I'm going to make are NBA and wrestling related. Like I said, the NBA is on the All-Star break right now. We're on the last day, Wednesday, Thursday, basketball's back. Hooray. So I wanted to take a little break, like I said, and finally make a wrestling video, which I did. Check out the How I Would Book WrestleMania video, link in the description. And I wanted to make another non-NBA related video before I jump right back in the NBA things. And this is probably the most thought of non-basketball, non-wrestling related thing that I've been keeping my eyes on for quite some time. And it always happens this time of year, every year for what it seems the past 3 years. What should be next for Aaron Rodgers? If you do not know, I am a Green Bay Packers fan. You could tell because I have on this hoodie, this tie-dye hoodie. You're not a Packers fan if you don't, I wouldn't know anybody else that would wear this hoodie, but I would. I love this hoodie. It's a comfortable hoodie. It was like $15, maybe $20. It's comfortable. I also have a Packers hat, which you can't see because of the light, but here it is. This was also $15, $20. I'm a cheapskate as well, so I want to throw all this stuff out there. But, like I said, every year, we always have this topic, and it mainly started the 2020 offseason. Now, like I said, I'm putting this disclaimer out there. I'm not an NFL expert. I'm especially not a cap money expert when it talks about the NFL. So everything that I say in this is what I would like to see happen in a dream scenario, because I'm creating two different scenarios that in real life probably are not realistic due to money things or just me wanting to see it and nobody else wants to. So I am putting that out there. This is what I want to see happen. So there are two scenarios, like I said. Now you're probably wondering, what are those two scenarios? Because in reality, there are three scenarios that could happen. He comes back to the Packers, he gets traded or cut, probably traded. I don't think he's going to get cut, or he retires. Now, I don't have sources. I don't want to have sources. I used to listen to the Pat McAfee show and watch Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, but one thing about me, if my team loses, aka the Packers, or on the NBA side of things, the Grizzlies, and it's a big, like the NFL, obviously every Monday it's talked about NFL Network, ESPN. Grizzlies, they play 82 games a year, but if it's a big game, like when we play the Warriors, I know that's going to be the hot topic. I'm trying to avoid everything talking about a loss. I don't want to hear about a loss. I experienced it. I want to hear about the wins and stuff. So this year as a Packers fan, it was tough. I used to have the NFL Network playing. I couldn't play it for a month straight because we were on a 6-game losing streak. And it really sucked. Those are a lot of games that we could have won, should have won, and we just ultimately did not. So, like I said, I have notes in front of me. They're not really notes. They're just, I need to hit these high points. Because, like I said, I could have done a lot of research with this, but because it's my opinion, this is just me shooting the breeze with the stuff. I didn't go into sources and whatnot. Back to what I was saying. With the Pat McAfee show, I know he says a lot on there. A lot of it gets clickbaited or not. You don't understand the full situation of it. I know he's on this darkness retreat, which the main quote I remember him saying was that it's 3 to 4 days. He'll have his decision after that. But like I said, I didn't watch the full thing because I don't like if it's not him coming out saying pretty much I'm coming back to the Packers or I want to be traded, I feel it's kind of a waste of my time, and B, like I said, in the regular season, I was not watching a lot of that because we were losing. I don't want to hear why we're losing. It was just very negative energy around that. So, like I said, there are 3 different scenarios realistically that can happen. There are only 2 that I want to see happen. I don't think he's going to retire. And the main reason I don't think he's going to retire is A, he's going to get paid a lot of money to keep playing. That's reason A. And B, Tom Brady just retired. Now, I'm a Packers fan. My brother, if you're watching this, shout out, he's a Tom Brady fan. It is a very weird household. But Aaron Rodgers has always been in Tom Brady's shadow. It just, no matter how great Aaron Rodgers is, and people say he's great, I think he's the greatest, but that's just my opinion. People are going to say, well, Tom has 7 rings. It might be 6. I'm pretty sure it's 7 rings. It's just and Tom Brady just retired. The NFL and just the NFL universe fan base would be so dilute, it would drive them crazy if not only Tom Brady, retired in the same offseason. And yes, I know Tom retired last year. I think he's done for now. He might come back later, but I don't think he's going to have the quick comeback that he had last year, obviously. But Tom retired. He's taking a break, definitely, 100%. It would be crazy if the second best, or Tom Brady 2.0 in this scenario, also retires in the same year. I don't see that happening. So I don't think he's retiring. So that leaves two scenarios: traded or play for the Packers. Now, I know a lot of Packers, I follow a lot of Packer fans on Instagram and on Twitter, and a lot of them want to see him traded. And it's understandable, because we have Jordan Love. Now, I might get some of these things wrong, because I'm not a draft expert, not a cap expert, not any of that. But I'm fairly certain you pretty much get 5 years with your player that you drafted, at least the first round pick. And Jordan Love has been on the bench for 3 of those years already. So that means hypothetically you'd have 2 years left. At some point, I knew that was going to happen. I have this air freshener right here. It goes off every 36 freaking minutes, and I forget to cut it off. So if y'all always see me get distracted, it's because of this. I want to cut it off next video, I promise. Anyways, Jordan Love. He played the game last year against the Chiefs. And this is a hot take. I say hot takes in all of my videos, but this is a hot take. He obviously did not have a great game. He had a better game than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes did not have a good game that game, but he had a better game than Patrick Mahomes. A lot of fans are like, he's just terrible and whatnot. Then this year, he came in halfway through the Eagles game, the best team in the NFC, and was freaking good. There was 1 touchdown to Christian Watson. I'm pretty sure Jordan Love threw 2 touchdowns. Again, not 100% sure. I definitely remember the Christian Watson touchdown. I'm like, I could get used to this. I really could. Was I saying he should start for the rest of the year? No. As long as you got Rodgers, I think you should play him. I think he would get very pissed, and it would cause a crazy storm if he got benched for Jordan Love, which I know happened with the Saints last year, and that was just a terrible day. We lost like by 40 points. And yes, I say we because I put too much time and effort into watching these teams. It's we to me. At some point, you're going to have to see Jordan Love play. And so what I see from a lot of Packers fans or I'm putting the quotation experts, is they want to see Rodgers traded. And I think I want to see 2 scenarios. I keep saying that, repeating that. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is very weird as a Packers fan to say it. I want to see Rodgers traded to the Raiders. Why? Devontae Adams is there. Now, I know if you're an NFL fan watching this, you're probably mad at me talking about the NBA and just other stuff because you want to watch NFL. But like I said, I'm not an NFL expert. I am an NFL fan. I'm a Packers fan. If that makes any sense. I'm a fan of the NBA. I know all 30 teams. There's obviously the teams I really like, cough, cough, the Grizzlies. There's teams I really hate, cough, cough, the Warriors. But I know stuff about every freaking team. I know at least 10 players on each team and all that stuff. Where with the NFL, I cannot do that. I'm not like that. But going back to why I was bringing the NBA up in this scenario, I used to be a huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan because of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Now, obviously, James Harden got traded. It was Russ and KD for the longest time. Then KD left. I'm still not over that. And then Paul George came. Carmelo left. Paul George left Westbrook there. And then Westbrook got traded to Harden. And it was a big deal to me. And for a short period of time, I was a Rockets fan because the two of the 3 reasons I was a big Thunder fan are now back together. That's what I want to see. So, 2 of the big reasons I'm a Packers fan and have stayed loyal to the Packers and love watching the Packers is Rodgers and Devontae. And obviously, last year when Devontae got traded and that whole fiasco, I was delusional for a freaking week. I was mainly upset because I was under the impression always coming back, their franchise tagged him. If they would have said right away, hey, we're doing this just to trade him, I wouldn't have been as upset. But thinking he was coming back and then obviously he wasn't, and we didn't get the greatest return, made me very angry. Now we got Quay Walker and Wyatt, which they were good draft picks, but obviously they didn't replace Devontae because they're not wide receivers. They're not top 2, not 2 wide receiver, which this year you could debate if Devontae is definitely a top 5 wide receiver. Top 2, not 2. He's probably like 3rd, but if he reunites with Rodgers, he's going back to the number 1 spot. Also, again, another hot take. Not really. Devontae and Rodgers are the best duo in the NFL. You could debate between them two or Travis and Mahomes or Kelsey and Mahomes. I don't know why I call him Travis, but you get the point. I'm saying, because I'm biased, Rodgers and Devontae is the best duo. So, I want to see them back together. It's the perfect scenario that I was calling somewhat months ago when the Raiders were not doing good and before they even were discussing benching Derek Carr, releasing him, all that. I was thinking I could really see Rodgers on the Raiders next year. I was thinking that in my mind just because the Packers were in somewhat of a similar boat as the Raiders. So, scenario 1 is I want to see him on the Raiders because I feel the Raiders would better suit Rodgers. Rodgers is Tomlin, and I compared him to Tom Brady. You can also compare Rodgers to Peyton Manning. All three are greatest of all times, debatable, and all that stuff. But it is very rarely now in the NFL where you're seeing players stay on one team their whole careers. Now, we saw what Roethlisberger, we saw Eli Manning, and they won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but again, in my opinion, they don't touch Rodgers' his whole career. And they stayed loyal to their team the whole time. They stayed with the Steelers and the Giants the whole time. But their last couple of years, they sucked and did not do much. Now, I know there was the one year the Steelers started off like 7-8-0, which that was actually crazy, but obviously they got embarrassed in the playoffs. And then this year, they didn't have Roethlisberger. I'm trying to think. What was the year? Last year, they lost to the Chiefs, the Steelers. I'm trying to think the year before. I don't think Roethlisberger played. He got hurt. And what's his name? The guy that got hit by the helmet. This is why I'm just proving that I'm not an NFL expert. I called him the guy that got hit by the helmet. That's what it is. But anyways, very rarely now are we seeing these great quarterbacks stay with their career, stay with the same team their whole career, retire. And the best 2 that we've had the past 20 years, outside Mahomes, went on to go to different teams and lead them to a Super Bowl. Now, in this hypothetical situation, like I said, I know cap is a problem, and I know that some of these players wouldn't come back, is a problem. But Rodgers on the Raiders, everything, every report, every tweet, because like I said, I Googled some of this stuff, everything pointed towards Josh Jacobs coming back to the Raiders. Now, I know at the beginning of the year, it seemed like he was not coming back because they didn't re-sign him, but then he went on to have a career year, great year, and then he's probably coming back. And like I said, everything is pointing towards him coming back. So, the Raiders would have a great running back already. Darren Waller, I know, is a great tight end, and the tight end position suffered a lot this year. And he was injured for most of the year. Wide receiver Roz, he has Devontae, a guy that he is already used to, accustomed to, and all that. Hunter Renfrow. I know Hunter Renfrow personally because I drafted him in fantasy, and he was hurt most of the year, and I had to drop him fairly quickly. Mac Hollins, who I did not draft or pick up and whatnot, every once in a while I'd see he did good. So, wide receiver-wise is a bit of a struggle, but with it, again, the main reason I'm pushing for Rodgers to go to the Raiders is I feel the Raiders would better equip Rodgers than the Packers would right now, because I know what the Packers have done the past couple off seasons. They have not really equipped Rodgers that well. And so, I don't know who the free agent wide receivers are. I don't know what the Raiders can trade and cannot trade. But I know that they would try their best to have the best lineup out there for Rodgers, who's a top quarterback. Now, you're probably wondering why didn't they do that for Derek Carr. I think they kind of wanted to get rid of Derek Carr from the beginning. And they did make a humongous move in bringing Devontae in. Also, from the Raiders standpoint, I know it's either Rodgers, again, this is opinion. It's either Rodgers, possibly Garoppolo, or drafting a young quarterback. I don't think Devontae wants anything to do with a young quarterback. He wants Rodgers. I know he's trolls and he's teased like, oh, I want Rodgers. He should want Rodgers. Everybody in that facility, the area should want Rodgers. He's that great. I know he didn't have the best year, but look what he had out there. Now, I'm going to get to that in a second, and I know that kind of sounds like a diss, but it's not. It's definitely not. So, this is kind of it for me talking about Rodgers with the Raiders. Like I said, I think, A, they would facilitate Rodgers better than the Packers would be, and B, he's reunited with Devontae, and I want to really see that. 3, or C, because I said A, B, C. I also said 3 anyways. Randall Cobb's probably coming there. I think any team that Rodgers will go to, Cobb's going to be there, and that's great for me. I love Randall Cobb. So, if Rodgers is gone, now this is where I am interested. Because like I said, I get to have the ultimate dream. I know that I know people crap on the people that have the hats with both sides, but most of the time it's like, for example, I know in the NBA people have I've saw this hat. It's like the half the Lakers, half the Clippers. That's different because that's a rivalry. Raiders, Packers don't have any connections besides these players. They don't have a rivalry. So I would have a 1A team to root for, 1B team to root for, because if Rodgers is traded, I'm going to want the Raiders to win. That way that the guy that we've had his whole career in Green Bay, it was worth it to leave Green Bay if he wins a Super Bowl. Also, if the Packers don't have Rodgers, they're not in Super Bowl contention yet. Jordan Love has played one full regular season game against the Chiefs. Everything else has been half of a quarter, just he hasn't had a full time. I don't expect Jordan Love to come in right away and dominate. If he did, that would be crazy. Now again, talking about Jordan Love, it does not help that his quarterback class, which this is the main part, I was like, I might get a couple of things wrong, but I'm fairly certain I'm right in it. So, 2020 quarterback class, Joe Burrow has already went to a Super Bowl. Very mad he did not win that Super Bowl because of the referee. I remember that crap, Rams. That's why I don't like y'all. Joe Burrow has already been to a Super Bowl. Again, mad at the Chiefs because he should have went to a second Super Bowl and it didn't happen. But Joe Burrow has already been to 2 Super Bowls. Tua Tagovailoa had a great year. It definitely sucks that it was mainly memorable, or I guess in this case not memorable because of the injuries. But I think Tua is very good. I know a lot of people don't like him, think he's bad. I think he's good. And obviously the team did very well this year, mainly because of Tyreek Hill and Tua. So Tua got help and was good. One of my personal favorites, Justin Herbert, has been a stud since he got drafted. Last year, he should have made the playoffs, but the Raiders, last game of the year, I'm still very confused and don't think that was a real situation that happened. Another thing I don't think really happened was that he finally made the playoffs this year, and I never put anything on one player, but I can't believe, because he's the one that gets blamed, because he's the guy there. That Jaguars loss still bothers me, because like I said, I'm a big Herbert fan, but he finally made the playoffs this year. Then, pretty sure this is where Jordan Love got drafted. Because I know the guy that got drafted after him was Jalen Hurts. Second in MVP, second in winning the Super Bowl, because he didn't win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs did. Eagles were there, that's why I call him second in the Super Bowl. He's supposed to get this massive contract. It does not help that Jordan Love's quarterback class is surrounded by people that are already done so much ahead of him. He's so far behind. We, at some point, as a Packer fan, as an NFL fan, for some people, you want to see what Jordan Love's got. I have wanted to see what he's got to see why we even drafted him in the first place. I know that kind of sounds like a diss, but, why did we draft him if we were just going to have him sit the whole freaking time? So, with Rodgers on the Raiders, we finally get to see what Jordan Love does. Again, a lot of our team, mainly the offense, fits Jordan Love's timeline. Having a great offensive line is great because, we have a very good offensive line mainly because of Bakhtiari, and we re-signed Elton Jenkins. Whew, I'm trying to get a lot out here. But with that, if you have a good offensive line, because I remember a lot of people were saying that the re-signing was I guess Rodgers is coming back because again, another thing, I got a lot of things to say. But with this, it gives him time to throw to our 2 great rookie wide receivers who it definitely sucked that they weren't great at the same time. Romeo Doubs was great at the beginning of the year, and then he got hurt in that horrendous Lions game that at least 9 Packers players got hurt in. And then Christian Watson, that Cowboys game, he was the star and has took off from there. One of my favorite players. Again, if you're a Packer, you're probably one of my favorite players. But, again, you got essentially, I'm not going to say a rookie quarterback, but essentially a rookie quarterback, 2 sophomore now wide receivers that know what they're doing in the NFL. You got those 2. Allen Lazard, which from everything that I've heard is that he is not coming back to the team, which is again going to lead to my other thing, is that Rodgers has his crew. When you listen to his interviews and you listen to the people he talks about Bakhtiari, Randall Cobb, Robert Tonyan, Allen Lazard. That's his crew. He likes Watson, he obviously brings those up, but he's been there with these other guys for quite a while. That's why he's always bringing them up. But Lazard's a free agent, wants a bigger role, And I just don't think he's coming back here. I don't think the Packers are going to pay him a lot of money to come back. I know he is wide receiver 1, but a lot of people are wanting to see Watson or Dobbs be wide receiver 1, or even trade for another wide receiver, which I'll get to that again in a minute. Robert Tonyan, he had a good year coming off an injury, but I don't know if the Packers are, again, same situation as Lazard. And Cobb, like I said, I love Randall Cobb, great veteran to have around. He knows everything, and I've said it several times, I don't know why he was never not on the Packers. But if Rodgers is not there, I really doubt he is going to be there. So, another reason I'm pushing for this is because I want to push the Jordan Love agenda. I want to see him play. Now, if that is not the case, if Rodgers comes back, it is not the end of the world. Because like I said, I respect, and it's very rarely we're seeing now quarterbacks stay with one team. To be fair, we got a lot of young quarterbacks in the league that maybe 10, 15 years from now, we'll see that with a Mahomes, and Allen, a Herbert. They should probably stay with one team for the rest of their career. But who knows how teams are going to manage their teams. But if Rodgers comes back, we got to do something. We have to get a wide receiver, a star wide receiver that fits his timeline. I think it'd be way too much to put it on the shoulders of Watson and Dobbs to come right in, like, be a star, like, right now. Because that's what Rodgers needs. And the thing is, I don't think that the Packers, if we haven't done that the past 3 to 4 years, we just aren't. I know Packer fans are pushing, trade for DeAndre Hopkins. He's available. Sign Keenan Allen. He might be available because the Chargers allegedly have to cut somebody. I don't think they're going to cut Keenan Allen, but who really knows? But I would love one of those players on the Packers if Rodgers is there. It just, we haven't done it before. I don't see it happening. So, I know it kind of seems like I'm pushing for Aaron Rodgers to go to the Raiders. I'm mainly doing it because if he comes back to the Packers, he's probably not going to be satisfied, and it's just going to be very similar to this year. If it's not, that's the greatest thing, because I am expecting something bad to happen with Rodgers on the Packers. But if something good happens, and hypothetically we make the playoffs next year, it's a step forward from where we were this year. Now, again, I know there are other scenarios that could happen. He can get traded to the Jets. I personally don't want to see it. I've never been interested in the Jets. I don't think Rodgers being there would make me that much more interested. The Colts need a quarterback. The Buccaneers need a quarterback. The Commanders would like an upgrade. I mainly wrote these 3 teams down because I was looking at different articles like, where could Rodgers go? Him on the Buccaneers would be interesting. No, I don't want to see that. The main reason I don't want to see it because, like I said, Rodgers has been compared to Brady his whole career. He goes to the exact same team that freaking Brady left. He's going to get compared even more. So I don't want to see Rodgers on the the Buccaneers. The Commanders, I like Curtis Samuel. I like Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry. Or did I just call him Scary Terry? Yeah, that's what his nickname is. I'm thinking of Terry Rozier. I'm thinking of a couple of different things. But anyways, I like the Commanders, but the Commanders have kind of been a crap fest for the past couple of years, and I don't see Rodgers coming there to save the day. The Colts, kind of the same thing. So that's why I'm saying, even, like, to be fair, I know the Raiders have been a crap fest the past couple of years, but at least Rodgers, I could see actually helping them. Or with these other teams, I don't really know. I really don't know. So, again, like I said, I don't know how all this works. I imagine it's going to be a trade. I know they cut Derek Carr. Shout out to Derek Carr for playing them because he made it seem like he was going to make it easy and get traded there, but he was like, no, cut me. So I think he did that to get money. Like I said, not a money cap expert when it comes to the NFL. So, to recap these 24 minutes that I've been spilling about Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. If he retires and plays with the Packers, great, but we need to make an upgrade. That way, it's not just like this year, and it's kind of a wasted year for Rodgers at least. I would love to see Jordan Love play and play with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, 2 guys that fits his timeline. And if they played with Rodgers, it would just kind of be, I'm not going to say bad, but it's just like, at some point, Rodgers isn't going to be there. Where Jordan Love, he would more likely be there than Rodgers would be. So, again, I was starting to recap, and then I was going back to a long spiel. So let me go back to recap form. If Rodgers comes back to the Packers, I would love it. I'm not going to be mad and against it just because that most likely means he's going to end his career with the Packers, which I would love and respect that. It would be great. But if he comes back, I want to see the Packers make some type of move to really help him out. If he does not come back to the Packers, I want to see him on the Raiders because I think the Raiders are a team that would fit his needs, and he would help them out just a lot. And he gets reunited with Devontae, and it kind of gives me a second team that I can root for while also rooting for the Packers. Because, like I said, if Rodgers is not on the Packers anymore, I'm going to want to see that team win a Super Bowl to showcase that him leaving meant something, a la when Peyton left the Colts and when Brady left the Patriots. And they both won Super Bowls with their other team. So, I know this is a long video. Unless there's like if I upload this video and then tomorrow Rodgers gets traded, I'll make a video reaction to that. But this should probably be my last non-NBA related video for a minute. I have several different NBA videos already wrote out, thought out. I've done a lot of research and strong opinions already formed for these videos. So check these out in the next couple of weeks. I don't know when my next wrestling related video should be, but again, if something important happens, I will make a video about it. So that is it for now. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.